Hello, team. We are here. I'm going to run through these as quickly as I possibly can. Keep it super short, sharp, and interesting, and of course, valuable for yourself. So, we're going to focus on how to enjoy a healthy Christmas guilt free without restriction. First thing I want to do is start off with my favorite quote from my favorite book of all time. If you haven't read it and if you're looking for a fairly quick read, it's only like 300 odd pages. Not even that, 200. But between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. I really invite you to take power and understanding that you can't control everything. You can't control how many calories, you can't control how much chocolate's going to be around because your partner's going to bring it home, and then your kids are going to want some ice cream, and you're going to do all these different things, and you're going to be pulled in all different directions. But I just invite you to take a moment and pause and just remember that you have a choice in those moments. And how you act in those moments are effectively going to define how you feel heading into the new year. So I really want to just start off with that. Look, managing your weight is simple. It doesn't mean that it's easy. Calories in, calories out. You know this. I know you know this. It's been fucking drilled home by everybody. Shout out to James Smith on understanding what a calorie deficit is and drilling that into the media. Definitely. So, what we want to try avoid is the old fuck it button, because we're there. If I swear and offend you, I apologize. But what are some of the problems? So just browsing through these guys, like 40% of people experience disordered eating behaviors in their lifetime. That increases dramatically throughout the festive break. 35% of adults are classed as obese, and this figure is rising. 28% of children under the age of 16 falls into the same category of being obese. This one I feel is really powerful. Disordered eating and body image-like behaviors are 15% more prominent in the fitness industry. So you're following all these social media accounts, you're watching this video, and credit, and I'm really grateful that you've put your trust in me with this one. But because you're exposed to this, you actually have a higher risk. You're a higher risk factor because you're trying to do all the right things, and then you're confused and you don't really know what to do. So 8% will develop a eating disorder. 80% of those who start diets regain the weight they had initially lost. 23% of people who start those diets and then fail regain more weight. And it's estimated that there's around about £3,000 spent per year on binge foods, comfort foods, which is roughly about 30 quid a week. So if you're prominent to like Uber Eats or just snacking on some chocolates or biscuits, and that's like 30 quid a week, yeah, that's like £3 a year. It's quite a lot. That could be invested in a good coaching mentor. Hello. So what we're trying to do, and hopefully we can go through some things here, we're going to avoid the old fuck it button, because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And if you think that you're going to ruin yourself over your Christmas, or you're going to start a diet and you're always going to fall off, when you eat chocolate, you have no control over it. You're just telling your brain over and over again that you're going to fuck it. So I think this is really powerful, because when emotions are high, your intelligence is low. You guys know that you shouldn't be smashing a whole tub of celebrations mindlessly in front of the TV. But you're enjoying comfort, it's Christmas, you've worked hard, you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got all these people around you. Like, this is the sort of the first thing, like, things feel back to normality, like it's cold, like all these different emotions that are going on. Your ability to follow through and do the right thing is going to be dramatically impacted. And we have this thing called the self-fulfilling prophecy, which is basically what I was just speaking about there. Like, think of it this way, is who knows Pringles? Like, once I pop, I cannot stop. So pause this video now, and I'm inviting you, like, what are some of the phrases that you're saying to yourself at the moment? Oh, it's Christmas. Go on. I always put on weight at Christmas. I'll deal with it come January. Like, these thoughts that you're saying to yourself are basically just inviting that result to happen, because you have a belief. There's certain things you're going to do, certain things you're not going to do, there's certain actions you're going to follow through on, and then of course that gets the results. And what does that do? That then reconfirms your belief. Like, as a person, as a nutritionist, what do I do? You feel that you're stuck. You get to a certain point, right? and then you don't know what else to do. So you reach out to a personal trainer. You think they're the solution. Matt knows what he's doing, or this person knows what he's doing, or whoever it is. It might not even be me. So you reach out and then you sign up to me. What do I do as your coach? I install the belief. I give you hope that things can be different. And then I tell you to do a couple of things, and then you do them, and then increases your confidence. That's all coaches do. We give you hope that things will be different in the future, and we install a belief that you have the power to change. That's all we do. So if you're like, again, just kind of running through that just now, and there's a few things which we can do, there's a few actions which we can focus on. One thing I always say to like my clients is like, instead of just sitting at house watching Netflix, like go to the cinema, because having a bag of Maltesers at home versus splitting a bag of Maltesers at the cinema, like you're going to get more out of that. So there's certain actions which we can do just to change that belief system. And think about it, like eating dessert at home versus eating a dessert out with a friend at dinner time. If you don't feel you've got any control around certain foods like desserts and chocolates, do that, and then you will change your result because you've managed self-control. You only have what's in front of you, and then you have this new belief system. You're just more aware of it, as in, you know what, like I do actually have self-control. I just need to be in the right environment, in the right situation. So you're not your thoughts, you're the being behind those thoughts. Catch your thoughts. I just want to start off on that one because I do think it's really, really powerful. Right, let's get into the good stuff. Enough rambling, Matt. Don't think about what you should do. Think more about how you want to feel. We're human beings. We're not generated by calories. We know the calories and macros of everything, but the taste and sensation and enjoyment of absolutely nothing. Reality is, guys, let's take the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. All right, so there's 4 days. And then let's go the 30th, 31st, and then the 1st. Let's throw in the 2nd as well, because I'm sure some of you are going back to work on like the 3rd or the 4th. So there's 7 days. So the reality is, guys, you have 7 days out of a whole year to enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. By all means, enjoy yourself. But I just want to impose this question. How do you want to feel come the 3rd and the 4th? How do you want to feel going back to work? My clients say they want to feel energetic. They want to feel light. My favorite one is I don't want to feel like a bag of smashed arseholes, which I thought was like, it makes sense. So what does that look like? It's that feeling is, yeah, have a couple of glasses of wine. You don't need to have the whole bottle. Yeah, have Christmas dinner, have dessert, have chocolate. You don't need to eat the whole box. When you want to feel a certain way, there's actions which you put in place, and you can just explore that. So I, again, invite you to pause this video just now. How do you want to feel going back to work? When you step into the office, when you go back into those, when you're out of the jammies and the Christmas clothes and the joggy bottoms, how do you want to feel when you step into those clothes, right? Then scribble down a couple of things, like what are like 1 to 3 actions that you need to do on a daily or weekly basis to get that. That can be just get to the gym 3 days this week. It can be get out a walk. It can be go to bed at the right time. It can be drink some water. Like, don't have chocolate on an IV drip within arm's reach. Like, it can be anything. Go for it. Be the architect of your environment, not just the consumer. Like I said, you can't control your environment, but if it's your house, you can actually a bit. So if you always have chocolates on the counter, chances are you're going to eat them. You ever saw the marshmallow test with the kids? Like, that's a lot of discipline. That's a lot of self-will. Like, let's eliminate. It's a lot easier to like avoid restriction than it is to resist it. So don't have the temptation in front of you. Sorry, it's a lot easier to avoid temptation than it is to resist it. Don't have that temptation in front of you in the first place. You don't feel like you want chocolate until you see chocolate. And then last but not least, guys, you can eat anything you want. Just maybe not everything that you want. And a lot of us get caught up in that because it's Christmas. Well, I'm going to do it in January. I'm going to claw everything back, and I'm going to really, really restrict myself in January. So I'm going to go all in this. And it's just this emotional and hunger, health volatility, I really call it. You're up and down like a bloody yo-yo. This is something I keep coming back to with my clients. Guys, you can have anything that you want when you go out to a meal and you go to a restaurant. Just don't get the burger, the pizza, the dessert, and the like just choose a couple of things that you're like, you know what, I really, really fancy that. And if you can keep doing that every single week, then you're on to an absolute winner. So let's get into the good stuff, why you're actually here. So some very basic ones, I want to just make sure that you guys are just ticking off, like, and just to, maybe you're doing this already and that's bloody brilliant. Maybe these are some things you're like, you know what, I really should be doing that more than anything. So I really just want to tick off a couple of basic ones and then we'll get to like the main course. This is the appetizer, if you want to say. All right. So what I say to my clients, set the fucking table. Like studies show that you eat 47% less calories when you're like eating without distraction. So if you're watching TV, you're going to eat 1.5 times more calories. That's what the evidence shows. Neat. Look, get active. Like we all withdraw and go into sort of hibernation. So just try to get some sunlight as much as you possibly can. I always say, like, look, abs are not made in the kitchen because that's where all the fucking food is. The less time you can spend around food, probably going to be the better. Water, guys, like so simple. But who is guilty of not drinking water, especially when it's the festive break? Yep, I'd rather Bailey's. But studies have shown a decrease in 23% calorie consumption per meal when supplemented with 500 milliliters of water 20 minutes before a meal. So just have one large glass. Maybe this is your action, guys. Have one large glass of water before every meal. If you can do that over these next 7 days, that window, I promise you, you're going to be in a really, really good position to head into the new year. Sleep, guys, again, non-negotiable. 11% calories per meal, so that's 33% calories less each day. If you got 8 hours sleep scheduled on time versus 5. Protein, again, everybody and their granny in the fitness industry is speaking about it, but it's actually the most satiating, which means it's going to leave you fuller for longer. So yes, Christmas dinner when that comes round. Not to say you can't have Yorkshire puddings, just make sure you get some of the meat first. And if you want to actually eat that first as well, chances are you're going to be fuller a lot faster, and then you're going to be less likely to overeat later on. So make sure that, yeah, you're prioritizing some protein. And then now we're getting into the good stuff. Preload your meals. There's this common misconception, it's been recently acceptable to sort of bank calories. Now, this may work for some who have that control, but it can also make you rather insensitive to your hunger and fullness cues, causing you to actually overeat. So if you think that you know you're going to have a binge or you're going to have a lot of calories over Christmas and you're just going to not eat for the day, chances are you're actually going to overeat and then you're just in this sort of really vicious cycle of binge and restrict and stuff like that. So whatever your favorite fruit is, have that. Another really good recommendations I like to have for my clients is get a protein shake in 20-30 minutes before your meal, and that can actually decrease the amount of calories that you have because you're just sort of slowly digesting, and yeah, it's really, really beneficial. Like I always wondered and have this, like, have you ever been to like a really, really fancy restaurant and then they bring out this massive plate and it's just this tiny thing here, but they do it like 5 times and you're like, oh my god, I'm so full. Like that's the right level of food because there's such a prolonged period of eating and digestion. You're slowing things down. Your body's allowed what it's meant to do. So by doing that versus just gorging everything down, it's great. So yeah, into the main course now. Hopefully, like I said, you are just ticking off some of those. If not, I just want you again choose a couple of these. Like, you know what, these are non-negotiables. Right. So as I was saying, it's uncommon, it's not uncommon to lose touch with the hunger fullness scales. Both overeating and undereating, it's very, very prevalent, especially in the fitness industries. So now I know what you're thinking. It's easy for us to feel like you're listening to your body and yeah, like, oh, it's Christmas. Like, I'm hungry. I'm going to just eat this whole tub of celebrations because why the fuck not? I'm hungry. But it will help you identify your hunger cues, observe how different types of foods and amounts of food can actually affect you. So that, again, moving forward, we can actually enjoy foods without this feeling of overwhelm and the anxiety. So this method is not intended, sorry, these methods are not intended to set strict guidelines or strict rules, just more sort of nudging you in the right directions, just so that if you need to kind of course correct, they're like, ah, back on course more than anything. So I'm going to start off with this one because I do feel like if you can just grasp this alone is extremely, extremely powerful, as the hunger fullness scale. So scrolling down the line here, 1 through 10, we really want to find that sweet spot here. Maybe on Christmas you can kind of get to like an 8 or a 9. Like who's ever woke up woke up after your nap and felt Thanksgiving stuffed, possibly the extreme discomfort, like this is too much. Fell to the point of being sick. We obviously want to try avoid that. So notice that this sweet spot 4 through to a 7 on Christmas Day. Yeah, maybe an 8 into a 9, but we really want to try sort of find that. So level 1 is like you're ravenous, you would literally do anything. In the middle, we have these sort of 5, and being on either side of that is really, really good. Level 10 means you're absolutely stuffed. Again, you're feeling really sick. So here's the point. Scribble this down. Before you eat, audit. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry am I? Very simple. Because that will then just give you an indicator as, you know what, like, I'm not that hungry. I've had Christmas dinner at like 2, 3 o'clock. It gets to 7. You're like, how hungry am I? Yeah, peckish. Like, yeah. So you'll have a little bit. And yeah, that can really just sort of help. If you catch yourself mindlessly eating, I want you to halt again. This can be used, this anonym, I think it's just really good as well, sort of throughout the week. And maybe this is something that you can try practice. Stop eating if you're hungry, angry, under pressure, lonely, or tired. Take a second, go a walk, change your environment, have a conversation with somebody. I think this is just a really simple thing to just stop, find the space, find the gap, pause. It's really, really powerful. Urge surfing. Again, so simple, but so overlooked. As what they found is if you have those urges, those cravings, there's this kind of ramp up effect, and then there's this peak, and they found that this peak is round about the 15-minute mark. What they've done is they put people in a room, and then they just sort of put pictures up of really, really tasty, delicious foods like pizzas and cakes and stuff like that. And then they took them away, and they sort of just set, and they're like, let's scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want a pizza? I'm like, yeah. And then they waited, like they just asked every like sort of minute, and then you found after like 15 minutes, we're like, yeah, like I would, but yeah. So there's then that fall. So look, if you fancy galaxies or whatever that craving is for yourself, just say like, if I still want this in 15 minutes, I'm going to allow myself to have it. And I know that that's simple, but I would bet that you've tried everything else and you want it to be more complicated. The easier and simpler it feels, and you're like, huh, yeah, I can do that. Good. That's how health should feel. The last bite threshold is I have a pizza every week. Like I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big advocate of pizza. But what I try to do is when I look at the slices is find how many slices I have where I'm enjoying the food and I'm like filling the hunger. I'm feeding hunger to actually eat because I'm hungry. Versus where's the last bite threshold where I'm just eating this because it's in front of me. And if you can do that, and I invite you to do that moving forwards, like this isn't just for Christmas. Like, see when you're sitting down at lunch or sitting down at dinner, just find that point. And if you can just start to tune into that, like, you know what, like I'm just eating this and I've had 9 slices of pizza and there's 10 here. And I don't need the 10th. There's 8 here in front of me. I just first number that came to my head. Again, it's just a really good skill to learn. Kind of like riding a bike. You're just starting to learn how to cue the hunger. So dust off the cobwebs of the bike in the garage. So team, that is going to be it. It's not 10 minutes, but hopefully the intro and then the outro, 5 minutes either side. This was a little bit longer. I do apologize. But guys, you cannot hate your way to a body that you love. Stop trying. Trust me, I did. And last but not least, Merry Christmas, you filthy fucking animals. Guys, like I said, there is so many different things that I can share with you. If you do have any questions, if anything has helped specifically, stood out, if you have any questions about any of these, by all means do give me a shout and I will happy to discuss with you a little bit further. All right, over and out.